Welcome to From Market to Table. I'm Kathy Willis. I'm County Market Scratch Baker. And with me is Sam McGurty, and he is manager of the seafood department.
We were close.
Close, next door neighbors.
So,
and Sam's going to do a couple of things that I thought, you know, with the abundance of apples that are coming out now, they're just gorgeous. I was going to do some apple cakes.
Sounds good.
And
Sam's
going to do a couple of dips and appetizers. So
yeah,
we'll go ahead and get started.
Really simple dips, appetizers. We're getting into the season again. This stuff's easy. We got a lot of people coming over to visit.
Yeah.
They're hanging out a little bit longer maybe than what you expected. This stuff's super easy. It's quick. If you're looking for something simple to do real fast because people are coming over.
Sure.
So first we're going to start, we got a chicken enchilada dip. It's festival, it's warm.
Oh, it sounds good.
Super simple to make and it's fast. Really only like six ingredients, super easy.
Wow.
And the chicken, again, the chicken's really easy to use too. We just used a rotisserie chicken, shredded it right off the bones. It just falls off, it's already cooked.
Yeah.
So that's something that you don't have to deal with there.
Yeah.
And everything else is just picked up off the shelf, which is really easy.
Right, sure.
So again, all we got is chicken. We got a small can of red enchilada sauce, some corn. We're gonna drain the corn, black beans, and then taco seasoning and cheese.
Oh.
Just in a deep dish. You can use a cake pan, a pie pan,
Sure.
anything you want.
Or any kind of casserole dish that could go in the oven.
Dish.
Sure.
So we just went ahead, we preheated the oven to 400 degrees. We're gonna put this stuff in here and we're gonna plop it in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. So first our red enchilada sauce, it's just gonna go on the bottom. We're just gonna line the pan a little bit with that. So we got that really simple. And then other than that, everything just goes on the top. I'm just gonna layer it. I'm gonna do the beans first, then the corn, then the chicken, and then we're gonna add the spice and the cheese.
And top it with the cheese.
Yep, just gonna top it with the cheese. And again, the cheese is something you could, if you like a lot of cheese, more power to you. Go ahead and throw it on there. It doesn't really matter too much. But the corn, we're just gonna spread it all out kind of evenly or whatever, close to even. Again, it's a dip. It's going to get mixed once you start getting in there and all that good stuff. It's going to get mixed.
With corn chips?
Yeah, just with corn chips. We'll spread this around a little bit. And again, our black beans. Got all those out.
Nice.
Yeah, and this is like something really simple. Like you got guests coming over, and you don't know what to do. Well, rotisserie chicken. I mean, it took 2 seconds. It calls for one chicken breast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just a rotisserie chicken is really simple. And again, you can add more chicken if you want. That's not a set.
Yeah.
Set thing. I like the recipes that you can do that with.
Yeah,
They're flexible. Very flexible recipes. Whoops. But it just, again, pretty even in there. And the taco seasoning calls about 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning. So that's honestly probably almost the whole package.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're gonna spread that on top one there. Get the other one, just about 2 right there. Maybe we'll add a little bit more. That doesn't much matter. There ain't much left.
Or the package.
Whole package. That's what we're gonna go with. And that's something also, if you like it hot and spicy, there's hot and spicy taco seasoning. There's chicken taco seasoning. Like, there's very wide variety of taco seasonings that you can use. And then our cheese.
You know, you can even put in the Mexican corn. And they have some of the Mexican corn with jalapenos too.
Yep.
So you could certainly do
something
that.
you can really spice up if you like hot stuff. But yeah, I'm just gonna cover it in the cheese. And that's it right there. I mean, super simple, really fast to make. 15 to 20 minutes in the oven, and we're rocking and rolling. Your guests are happy.
Yeah.
We're sitting there, we're watching a game now because it's football season.
Yeah.
Whatever you're watching, maybe whatever, planning your Christmas parties, anything. This is super good. Sit around a table, eat with your family, your guests, stuff like that. Real simple to make. So I'm going to plop this in the oven.
Okay, you go put that in the oven. and then you can get your chips and
Yeah.
set the timer over there, and
Sounds good.
hopefully this actually will be done by the time we're at the end of the program.
Should be about perfect.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
All right. So now we're going to do an apple cake with caramel glaze. This cake is intended to be in a tube pan, and it looks very, very nice in the tube pan. Or you can use 2 loaf pans, and that's what I've decided to do, is do the 2 loaf pans. So, and we'll have these recipes in all of Sam's recipes too at the courtesy counter. Now the apples, I like whatever you prefer using. The Granny Smith they're tart, they're very firm, they keep their shape really, really well. Well, Pink Lady sort of does the same thing, although this is a little sweeter and not as tart as the Granny Smith. And there's certainly lots of other types of apples that you can use to put in this. And it takes probably 3 to 4 apples depending on size, because you want 3.5 cups. So we'll get started. One of the things that we're going to do is start with getting the dry ingredients and mixing them up really good. All right. So we need 3 cups of flour. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of salt, so there's the teaspoon, and see when I usually do it in the crook of my hand, that's a teaspoon. So, and then what we'll want to do is add some cinnamon to this. So a half of a teaspoon to a full teaspoon, depending on your preference. I'm going to add almost a full teaspoon. Now I want to just go ahead and get this really mixed very well, and then we'll start on get our wet ingredients together. All right. One thing easy about this, you really don't need to use a mixer for any of this. It comes together very easy, which
That's kind of nice.
makes it nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, this calls for 1.5 cups of cooking oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, whatever you use for your cooking oil. And then to this we're going to add 2 cups of sugar. I thought I'd see how it was if I didn't have everything all poured out. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's still going to be just as good like always.
Oh, thank you. So 2 cups of sugar. And then to mix in this with the wet ingredients, we're going to add 4 eggs. Thank you, sir. All right. So we'll get this beat up until it's nice and light and thoroughly mixed and all the oils mixed in. It gets to be nice and creamy. And you can see how it's all incorporating together really nice.
It mixes pretty well. Like you said, you don't really need a mixer.
No, no.
Just your spoon is fine.
It goes really fairly easy to do this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is let's start adding our dry ingredients. You certainly could add it all at once, but
Yeah, it seems a little easier to add a little at a time. Mix
right.
up the first half or the first quarter and do it that way.
yeah.
Or you'll probably have if you are using a mixer and you dump all that in there, turn your mixer on, you're probably going to have a mess in your kitchen to clean up.
Yep. I mean, I already have flour on me.
Yeah.
It would be a lot worse.
Well, you got to have a little bit of flour on there. That's-
All right. That all went in fairly easy.
yeah.
And I think the one thing with, if you're using a hand mixer, you want to be careful because you don't want it, if it gets thick, you don't want to
Yeah.
do something to your mixer,
Right.
It'll get
Yeah, it is a pretty
stunned.
thick batter. It's pretty
Yeah.
nice. And it comes together well. There's no need for a mixer, really,
No,
on this.
no. Okay, so that's going to be our batter. Now to this, we're going to add 3.5 cups of diced apples and 1 cup of chopped pecans. Now, because I wanted to have the apples all diced, so I'm not standing here doing apples. I already did that, and I put them in water that had a whole lemon squeezed in there. So just a little bit of lemon juice, just so they didn't really change colors. I'm gonna strain those off.
Some nice looking apples. Apples right now are really, really good. You can't beat apples
Yep.
this time of year.
Yep. I'm going to use this. We said 3.5 cups, so this one's about 2 cups. And then we'll go ahead and get the rest in here, and that'll be our 3.5 cups. That was a good guess.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
You want to go ahead and mix those in a little bit?
Yeah, I can do that for you.
All right.
There we go.
All right.
It's looking good.
And then I'll get the 1 cup of nuts.
It's a pretty good amount of apples. That's going to be
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that's going to be awesome right there.
And now that I have my stirrer, we'll get it all mixed up really nice. And like I said, at this point, what you could do with the batter is put it in a tube pan. Okay, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And you just leave the spoon right in there, and I'll divide it
Yep.
up. Or 2 loaf pans. And as I said, I chose the 2 loaf pans. Oh. Don't cry over spilt milk.
Yeah, a loaf pan, that's probably something most people have at home. Like that's probably,
Right,
most
right.
people have a loaf, at least one loaf pan in your cupboard.
Yep, yep. All right, and you know, a lot of times you've seen me on the show where, you know, you can use a spray, you know, to coat your pans. You can also use, you know, a margarine or a butter, and so you're greasing it with that, and then flour to coat it, and that seems to work really well. I made the two this morning, and they just came so easily out of the pans right after they were done.
Right.
So we're going to do that. Now you can always, you know, you can use the paper, you know, to go ahead and grease it. You want to be fairly generous when you're greasing the pan. Make sure you have the the corners. I'm just going to put a little bit of flour in here, and we're going to gently coat it. You want to make sure you get those sides. Now you can see there's a spot that doesn't have any flour. So I missed it with the margarine. All right. Now we'll put the flour back over it, and now should be all fixed down there.
Good to go.
So I'm just going to dump out a little bit of the excess, but you can see they're fairly well greased.
Right, right. That's what you're looking for. Like you said, you don't have to go light on the butter when you're greasing. You want to get it in there so the flour sticks to the whole
Right,
pan and
right.
not just parts.
All right, we're almost done here. All right. Get a little more flour. All right. No empty spots down here. I missed a little flour on the side on this one. Boy, I'll tell you, not paying attention. All right. So now I'm just going to divide the batter up. And fill each pan. Now, you know, you can bake it just like this. You want to bake it in a 325-degree oven for 50 to 60 minutes. You know, I checked it at 50 minutes, and in the center it still was not completely set and done. So that's 60 or 65 minutes really what it took for these. Yeah, yeah. And probably because they're the pans are really very full. Because, you know me, I don't waste anything. If I see some pecans still in here, you know, you
gotta get them out, right?
You can't waste it. Now, at this point, like I said, they're ready to go in the oven. And then we're going to make the caramel glaze that's going to go on top of them.
It's been about 15 minutes, so I'm gonna grab our dip out while you're getting this finished up.
All right.
And then, you're gonna start your caramel glaze. And
Yes.
I'll go ahead and start on some pretty simple cheese balls that we got while you're working the caramel glaze. But
all right, sounds
while
good.
you're getting this finished up, I'm gonna grab our dip. It should be looking about perfect.
Yep.
And
yep.
We'll get the rest of it going.
All right, sounds good. as I was saying, you can certainly put them in the oven this way, or you can make a crumble topping for it. You know, you use butter, about a 1/4 cup of butter, sugar, cinnamon, and flour, and crumble that all together and crumble the top up, and it'll make that a very nice crumbly top. It doesn't really need it. You could do that and put that on there instead of doing the glaze. So it's, again, these are very versatile also. All right, let me put these over here. Now, as Sam said, I'm going to make my own caramel glaze. So let me get my stove here. All right.
Look at that right there.
And I apologize, I don't have a smaller pan. So the caramel glaze is basically 4 ingredients. You want 3/4 of a cup of butter, and you want to go ahead and get that melted first. So let's go ahead and do that. And 3/4 of a cup is 1½ sticks. And then to this, we're gonna, once that all melts, what we're gonna do is add 1 cup of brown sugar and a 1/4 cup of milk. Brown sugar. You can see it's starting to melt. And doing this glaze, you really need to be patient. Take your time. Nothing's going to rush. And then once we get this melted and add the milk and our brown sugar, we'll bring it up to a boil, and then we'll back it off to a simmer and have a nice simmer boil for 10 minutes. And during that 10 minutes, you want to go ahead and continue to stir. But I wanted to do this to show you what this caramel actually looks like when you make it yourself.
So that seems pretty like you got that going.
When I said caramel topping, about 3 or 4 people already have asked me, did you melt down the caramels? And I said, no, I made the caramel sauce. I made the topping myself. Brown sugar, milk, vanilla, butter.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
That's the way to go,
yeah.
For sure.
So we'll get that and then add our milk. And I'm just using whole milk because that's what we had in the back. You'll see this will mix and come together. And what I want to do is bring it to a boil. And this too will get all incorporated very well. All right. we're getting there. You can see they're almost starting to boil. And then what I'm going to do is once I bring it to that boil is, like I said, turn it down to a simmer and start the 10-minute process. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to turn it back over to Sam to do another type of appetizer.
Yeah, real simple, real
that
easy.
we can use.
It's another perfect for the holidays. So we're gonna work. We got just a mini cheese ball here. Again, it's just a 4-step process. Really simple. We got just 8 ounces of cream cheese, 3/4 cup of crumbled blue cheese, 3/4 cup of chopped dried cranberries, and then we're gonna mix that all together. Roll it up, and we're gonna roll it in the pecans.
Oh, wow.
And then to top it off, we're gonna stick a pretzel stick right in there. Just serve just like that.
Oh, that sounds nice.
So you want softened cream cheese. You could use, like if you have room soft cream cheese, you can use it that way. If it's not completely softened, that's fine. You don't have to use it that way. It's still gonna be stiff, but all you wanna do is mix the blue cheese and the cranberries in with it. So if it's not completely softened, that's fine, because after we ball it up, we're gonna wanna throw them back in the fridge for a couple hours, and then we're gonna roll them in the nuts. But
Yeah.
you can skip that step and roll it right in the nuts and then throw it in the fridge. That's fine too.
Yeah.
There's certain steps that we can skip. So 3/4 cup of the crumbled blue cheese and chopped up cranberries. 3/4 cup of those also. The cranberries are awesome. You can't beat dried cranberries.
Yeah, they're nice and sweet.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. I'm gonna get these gloves on here because we'll be touching all kinds of other stuff. I ain't got nothing to wipe my hands off with. But we're just gonna mix this all up and ball it up, and we're gonna see, like, our cream cheese isn't completely room temp, but everything mixes in there just fine. And it's gonna come out real nice. And I think it's easier to ball up when it's still a little stiff.
A little bit, yeah.
So I would rather it not be completely room temp myself. And here we go. So we just got this mixed in real good. And now these, you kind of want these bite size.
Sure.
You're going to serve them on a stick. People are going to be at your house, again, watching the game, watching whatever we got going on, maybe just visiting. So you don't want them too big because they're just going to be eating them off the pretzel stick.
Sure, yeah. Nice
so we're just
small
going to
ones.
ball them up, nice bite size.
Plus, you can also get more using
yeah, definitely, right. Yeah, you can turn that 8-ounce block of cream cheese and it could go a long way.
Yep.
So we're just going to ball these bad boys up. Get 3 or 4 of them going here. And you can get quite a few. Again, after all this, we're going to throw these back in the fridge. I think it's easier to stick the pretzel stick in before. You can stick them in before or after, either way, once they're stiffened up again or before that. But we're just going to roll these in the nuts here. This is a pain with the gloves on. So we're going to take them off. But again, this is so simple. It's such a simple, easy recipe when you got family coming over, you got guests. And it's so fast.
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
so fast
Yeah.
to do. It's a last minute thing or whatever. It doesn't even have to be a last minute decision. It's just really simple to make. So we got 3 or 4 of those there. Again,
See, now, Sam, I
you cut it in half.
I'd
huh?
cut it in half.
Yeah, see, we're big bites. Big
I know,
bites.
but you got to think of other people that
Right.
are coming and kids.
True. Yeah, little kids.
You
That's
know,
a fact. Yeah.
I mean, that's an awful lot to be on for their
That
one
is a
bite.
pretty big one biter. They're a little bigger than what they look after you put the nuts on.
Sure, absolutely.
So, but then again, we're just going to add the pretzel sticks in there.
Oh, they look wonderful.
They're really nice. And after I do that, I like to throw them back in the fridge for an hour or so, just to stiffen everything back up. And
Yeah.
that's all it's doing. Do you have to do that? No. But they're easier to eat when they're stiffened up again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Because the nuts we want to toast. I toasted the nuts actually in the oven for like 7 minutes,
Oh, wow.
7 to 10 minutes. It's just crushed pecans. You could probably use any nut you wanted, honestly. There's no certain specific nut to put on there, but We want the pecans, just crushed pecans, which you can find here already crushed.
Yeah.
Just bang right on a baking sheet in the oven for like 7 minutes. You're just toasting them up.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I mean, that's basically it right in here. We rolled it in. Super simple, really fast to make. We got some more here. And
Well,
they look really nice.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Really nice. Can't beat it. Super simple appetizer. People are gonna love it.
Yeah.
And then again, it's so easy to make. And killer appetizer for the holidays.
Yep. Yep.
Looks like you got that boiling pretty nice. Your caramel
and
looking
the one
good.
thing, this is not smell-o-vision, but I got to tell you, this just smells like such great caramel. And we're not quite done, but I'm not going to continue with this. But I just want you to see, you know, it's still sort of thin, but it certainly will thicken up in those last 2 or 3 minutes. I was very surprised. So Sam, I'm going to have you go ahead and do some of the stirring here. Now that your hands are dirty, here you go.
All right, I can handle that.
All right.
Let's get in here.
And then I want to show you what they actually look like. So these are actually what the cakes look like. And let me move my apples. And as I said, one of the cakes, this is the one I did put a little bit of a crumble topping on, and this one I didn't. But I wanted to be able to slice it so you can actually see what they look like. But you can see when, you know, when Sam said, oh, there's lots of apples in there. Well, they're just nice chunk filled with apples. And that also helps to make it so nice and moist. Now you can see that topping is basically the glaze. And on this one, the ends are a little crunchy, but we broke some off. But the cake is certainly the same. Just has a little more of a crunchy type topping underneath the glaze. But as you can see, there's nice mixture of apples and pecans. So how you doing here? We're almost there.
Oh, we're getting there. We are getting there.
Now, this is the one thing. The temptation here is you want to try it. Not a good idea. This is actually still continuing to boil. So that's the one thing you don't want to do. And you'll see one of the reasons, let me see how much it's getting there. And you can see even on the bottom of the pan, it's sort of sticking more. But we're very close to that 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to set it on this cold towel. Now, to this, when it's actually stopped boiling, you can see it still boils a little bit when it comes off the stove. You want to go ahead and take the stove down? I feel like I don't want this pan to fall off the table. Because then what I want to do is add my 1 teaspoon of vanilla to this. And you can see it just, because it's wet, it just bubbles and bubbles up. So you know how hot this glaze is. And you can either, you know, when the cakes come out, they can still be warm when you glaze them. You want the glaze to be cooled a little bit, but it's still going to probably be warm because once it hardens. So if it hardens, you can go ahead and put it back on the stove and heat it up a little. Now I don't have a whole lot of space on this one, but we're going to add just a little more drizzle A little more caramel drizzle never hurt anybody.
No way. It's looking good. That's the best way to make caramel right there.
Yeah,
Much better than melting it.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's much better. Takes a little bit of time, but it's very well worth
Yes, I agree.
it. All right, so this is our sort of fall menagerie of apple pecan cake with a caramel glaze. And Sam here has his appetizers of a chicken enchilada dip.
Yep. And just they're just
Blue cheese.
Blue cheese, yeah, cheese balls. Really simple to make, really quick and easy.
All right, very good. And what I would like to thank you for joining us again, and we'll see you at the market.